So, welcome everyone to the Student Cafe. And today we have with us Dr. Abdul Kareem. The Student Cafe by the Society for Ethnobotany is a chance for students to learn and discuss about ethnobotany with experts whose careers focus on this area. And these discussions are organized by the Student Committee of the Society for Ethnobotany, and the goal is to basically broaden students' perspectives and understanding of ethnobotanical work to inform their own research and career trajectory and to build a professional network within their areas of interest. So, before we begin, I'd like to thank Dr. Abdul Kareem for accepting our invitation and uh, sharing his views about his work in ethnobotany, and we are really curious to know about this project. To all of you who have joined, if you have any questions during the presentation, please put it in the chat box, and I will discuss that in the discussion session. So, welcome, Dr. Abdul Kareem. Thank you so much for joining. You can now share your screen and begin your presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Nishanth. I'm happy that really I could be able to share some of my thoughts to the students. Yeah, let me share my presentation and could see.
Yeah, it's seen. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So today I thought I'll just give before my topic. I'll just give an introduction of the medicinal plants or the ethnobotany part in India as overall as concerned as a brief, and then enter into the topic which we are going to discuss on the pharmacopoeia of a small taluk or a small group of villages. So, you should know that in Indian context is concerned that uh, the medicinal value is not a recent one. It goes back to 1,000 years ago. So we have a proper recorded data of the plants used by the different ethnic communities, well recorded in the manuscripts from 1,000 years ago, and proper proof and documented knowledge is there which says which is medicinal, which community uses that, for what it is used for. A very clear documentation is there from past 1,000 years in the Indian context as well. Then now what we did is that, yes, that's important, but we can see that India's rich medical heritage is one of the oldest living traditions. And if we also trace back to more than 3,000 years old documentation of manuscripts, and also the knowledge has been prevailing from more than 3,000 years, from 3,000 years down the time. So we try to take all the ethnobotanical documented informations, both oral and documented data of 4,000 ethnic communities India has. And each ethnic communities have their own method of looking, documenting or using the plants for any aspects, starting from health to housing to fisheries, to their own knowledge. They have a lot of knowledge of each ethnic community is unique. Food preparations of theirs, and we try to document and find out what are the plants that these people are using it. So we have listed out around 6,200 plants which have been used by these 4,000 ethnic communities in India. So this is the amount of traditional knowledge that we have. So we can divide this into different forms. So the knowledge is lying between the household women in the house. You can see the first photograph, which for common curative and preventive aspects of a primary health care, we have enough medicines for cough, headache, fever. The knowledge is lying in our house, our grandmother's recipe, which we call as, and in the entire country, if you see, for all common ailments like ordinary diarrhea, we have an household remedy which has been taken care and which is curative aspects for a primary level. at the village level, at house level, as household levels. Then you can come to the specialized doctors, we call as in local health traditional practitioners. They are called as whites or they are called as local practitioners. And these people are specialized. And the specialized people are something which they have to treat for the specialized ailments in a village. At least in 2, 3 villages, we have one or two of them who are specialized in bone setting as orthopedics, or specialized in eyes, or specialized in snake poisonous bite. They are the local health traditions, culturally based, which is there in that part. These are the photos of, you can see the photos of these people. Some are good on veterinary, some are on poisonous bite. You can see the snake with the poisonous bite. Some are taking care of the local common health, fever, cough, and common health practice. Like this, we have a specialized doctors and you can see that for you can see here for veterinary bone setting. You can see here how they treat for the poisonous bite, and here a common for general medicine doctor who can treat for any diseases. And here is the list of women who are completely taking care. And all this depends on the plants, plant tradition and ethnobotanical tradition. And this is the eye. You can see here the local healer, which is treating the for eye diseases. And we have different women, men, and these are dais also. Dais are nothing but the traditional birth attendants who can take care of delivery in the village level. So traditions are from household to specialized, and these tradition is nowhere documented. It's just lying at ease, and it comes from tradition to tradition and from one generation to the other generation. And these are the peoples which are there in our country. At the same time, we also have a proper documented knowledge which has been recognized by the government of India, the Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, and Saurikva. These are the different systems which is there in India, which is well documented, and we have proper text and colleges behind this. So these are the different systems which India has. You can see this is the Unani system. Down you can have the Saurikva system, which is there. These are all recognized system by the country's government of India. Now, all these are based mostly of plant-based. If you see the documentation done is plant-based, and we have more than 25,000 brilliantly designed herbal formulations from thousands of manuscripts, and of which 50,000 herbal formulations are based on 800 species estimated to be known as folk tradition. From the documented tradition, we have more than 25,000 preparations of herbal formulation and 50,000 herbal formulations from folk tradition, that is undocumented knowledge, roughly, if you could work out in Indian context, the ethnobotany which is there. And we have more than 600,000 additional practitioners who practice this medicine. And from this medicine, also the industry also is there, who is dependent on this medicine. And more than 9,000 manufacturing units are there, with a turnover of more than 8,000 crores with ethnobotanical data, where people are dependent on. And international trade is also happening, is more than $1 billion. So this is the economic context of the entire thing. You can see here the species which have been used in the ethnobotanical part, starting from the documented sources and non-documented sources. You can see, so it's around 6,248 species which have been used in the entire country for different folk, that is the ethnobotanical data, the tribal, the folk, the community, and along with the classical text which is documented, we have the list of species which is there. And now what we did is we tried to see that can we take a group of small village and can we document in detail and give back to that village itself, forming a proper pharmacopoeia of that particular group of villages which we call as taluk. In South India, we have taken one village, a group of villages which is called as taluk in South India. And my team, we had a big team which is there. I just made a few people, and we had a good network. You can see that we have a SVYM is the local NGO who was there in that particular taluk, which is the group of villages. And we have KSR SAC, which is the government of India's mapping unit, which has the entire data of village level, soil, rainfall, climate, every data they have. Their government of India's. And Department of Ayush, which is an officially recognized government of India's department, who funded this program or this project, which I'm going to explain you. of, with the help of the ethnobotanical knowledge, how we have made a pharmacopoeia of that group of knowledge from that group of villages which we have brought. So in this case, if you could see what we have done in this project, we had around 6 components. Component one is a health survey. We have first in that group of villages made a proper documentation of what are the health problems these people have, and what is their healthcare seeking behavior, health seeking behavior. What is their mood? Where do they go? Did they use the modern medicine or they use the traditional medicine? So our area was more than 650 households of 30 villages. 30 villages combines one taluk. Taluk is a combination of villages, nothing else. Second, what we have done is we have tried to document all the plant resources which is there in that area. It is medicinal or non-medicinal. Entire inventory for which these 30 villages are dependent on the forest nearby. We have documented the entire diversity and distribution of an ecology and wild medicinal plants. And what are the plants which are threatened, which is very helpful, but it's under the IUCN category. So that's the second level work we have. The third level is that we try to put this into a geospatial database where GIS was being used and finds out the presence, distribution, community usage, and healthcare facilities. The fourth was with this data, the documented data, the ethnobotanical data, how can we convert this data into a pharmacopoeia? What is a pharmacopoeia? It's an officially recognized pharmacopoeia for the country to use on traditional medicine or ethnobotanical data. That's the pharmacopoeia which has been recognized by the government of India, and it has the proper formulations with proper references which any doctors can use it. That's the pharmacopoeia. And how we have done this pharmacopoeia, that's what we are going to discuss today. And then we disseminate this knowledge for 30 conditions. We have not taken all the conditions, but only we have taken 30 conditions and trained all the people in the village on how to use their own knowledge with adding, validating the certain information which is there. And then take this into modules and how the modules have been prepared and trained to the different user group. So these are the 6 components of the project which we did, that a team of us. And where is this area? This is in India, in the state called Karnataka. In Karnataka, we have a district called Mysore. And Mysore, we have a small taluk called HD Kote taluk. In this taluk, which is one of the backward area of our country, under the category, under a certain, it has been classified where people are quite, not backward means not in the form of backward, knowledge wise, yes, but the access to the infrastructure, other facility is not so much there. That's the reason they are considered as a backward taluk, which government classifies so that they can put a lot of effort in that in such a way that they can get many things access to. So this is the study area which we have done. So let's go one by one. I'll not go in detail, but I'll explain what we have done on this. The first, botanical and ecological study, inventarization and status. So we have now the entire area of this, we have classified and taken around 150 transects from the village and tried to document the entire flora for and count the number of flora, not even only inventarization, but also ecological studies to find out how many numbers of individuals are there for trees, shrubs, herbs, and climbers, and woody climbers. So as per the normal, this is a normal formula. Any ecologists will know this. And for herbs, for shrubs, and for trees, what is the area that we need to classify and count? So that has been taken care in this. Next. So from that data, you can see that village-wise, how many trees are found, how many shrubs are found, how many herbs are found, is been completely classified. You can see the classification, village in one side and number of trees, shrubs, and herbs found in every grid of the village nearby, who is surrounded by the forest, is been taken. Resource has been taken. So when you see that, the entire plants, if you could see, of 626 taxas at that area where our study area is, of which you can see trees are 121, herbs are 352, shrubs are 82, and 71 are climbers in this area. And you can see we have also found out that how many of these plants are traded heavily, highly traded, and how many are becoming rare, endangered, has in the IUCN category. So we have listed out those species also from that particular area. So now this is something on resources we have documented. And so we have a resource of the entire area as one part. Now come to the health component. So we have now gone through and did the baseline survey of what disease people have, what is the prevalence of these diseases, find out what are the knowledgeable people who knows the knowledge about this to cure these diseases. It may be a folk healer, as I mentioned earlier. It may be even a common village lady who has this knowledge on this. And we have identified those people, documented the knowledge that they have to cure these dirty diseases, and made a proper, nice ethnobotanical documentation. And then we also convert this into a, after adding value to it, into a TOT modules in such a way that an E modules, and conducted a lot of training programs and disseminate this knowledge towards them. So we have found a baseline survey to find out what is the status today, and after the project period, what is the status of the knowledge that they have. It was a detailed baseline study and inline survey that we have done. I'm just next slide. I'm just showing a few slides which can really just inform you. So design wise is concerned, we have used both qualitative and quantitative research. Survey area was around 30 villages, as I said earlier, and a population of 2,885 individuals populations which we have taken on. And the sampling stage was multi-stage sampling strategy, a randomly selected random method of 650. And the kit that we used was the open data kit. Of course, we use the user of prior informed consent. Only if the consent was been given, the documentation was been done. If the consent is not given, we are not documented it. And we have mentioned that is for a public cause. Who are willing to give for a public cause, they gave us, and who are not willing, they didn't give us. So that is a prior informed consent we got signed, and then we did it properly. And if you see that, it is mostly near the forest. We have divided it into different parts. Near the forest, people who are living, that sort of data. Outside the forest, people are living. Little far from the forest, people are living. Where the healthcare facility is available for the people, that will be one area. And where healthcare facility is not available for the people, that area. Like that, we had a random sampling of 10% of the households, and our precision of power was 10%. 80% of the power and precision was 10%. And we had a sample households of 550, which we studied to document the local knowledge of the people. Not all we didn't document. For 550 households who have the knowledge on this, we try to document. So this is what exactly the methodology part is concerned. And now you can see just a few slides I just kept for showing a baseline type of people. So here in Indian context, you can see we are classified into general categories, other backward classes, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and others. So this is one of the area where we have a scheduled class people, means they need more attention on the case of resources and access to the knowledge, access to the informations and other thing and all. So that sort of area, this is a little backward area where a lot of effort. And houses, we classify the economic status by the houses. Kacha pakka means a good house, developing house, just a complete concrete house. So it has a different categories. So we have found out to show just an economic status, and all under the BPL category means below poverty line category, this area, and hence the dependency is more for us. So now we have to, now this data which we have collected, we have been converted into brochures for the common health, and TOT modules we have been used for training this, and a lot of videos prepared in the local language and given to the people, and highlighted, shown in all the training programs, their own knowledge, These videos are nothing but the ethnobotanical knowledge that they have was being evaluated and then given back to them. And because this healer's knowledge will be only for few people, but if the entire community in the village requires, there should be a proper method of disseminating it. That's what the videos were put in. So these are some of the samples of showing that how the brochures, the flyers that we made in local language was given to them. And then after the project, we did an inline survey. You can see that the knowledge initially people had before the project implemented was only 29%, their own ethnobotanical knowledge. After the awareness activities, you can see the difference of 57% have understood and appreciated their own knowledge that they had to use in. And practice is concerned, only 29%, 80% we have been trying to know about the ethnobotanical practices. And after the project, more than 50, around 50% were started practicing their own ethnobotanical knowledge. And then if you see on the case of prevention remedies for treatment, and for prevention, people said yes. Initially, only 15% were doing for preventive care. But after, when we gave information and gave their own knowledge, they said, yes, this is our knowledge. And 53% started appreciating on the preventive medicine. And the practice also was a baseline, if you see 16% and more than 43 to 45% where they show the practice. And now this, if you could see, the disease that they mostly we have recorded was headache, cold, fever, cough, backache, acidity, conjunctivitis, joint pain, etc., etc., etc. Now, in this, if you could see that the blue shows that a baseline data for which they used other medicine and our herbal medicine, ethnobotanical medicine, you can see a change of how from 29% to 71% people started using their own informations for the 6 and 50 households. You can see the graph which shows that. And so overall, if you see the behavior, 27% of the respondents said that the use of traditional remedies or the ethnobotanical knowledge reduced hospital visits in the online survey. So this was a good uh, um, thing that we have done. And this was, of course, been made into a big noise in the government, in the non-government, in the policymakers, to the health workers, to different parts of the people. We had made into a big noise. Okay, what is this pharmacopoeia? As you know that the folk knowledge or ethnobotanical knowledge is a oral knowledge which is there. So we have also in India, as I informed you earlier, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani are the classical text knowledge which has been recognized by Government of India. So now we have in one side the flora, one side we have the ethnobotanical knowledge, and one side we have already a documented knowledge by the country. So we try to find out exactly with the help of this resource and the knowledge that they have, how many have a proper reference in the classical text. For example, for cough, they have 5 formulations, ethnobotanical formulations, of which 5 formulations, how many has a reference in the classical text? 3, 4, 2, whatever the number is. And this becomes more valued because it's already accepted by the pharmacopoeia, and this becomes a pharmacopoeia thing. Leaving this other plants where this community may not know the knowledge, but other communities in India, other will have recorded in the ethnobotanical data the knowledge, and this knowledge also we say that look, you have also a plant which you may not know this knowledge, but other ethnic communities are using this for this aspect. You can also use this because you have the plant resource in this area. So resource wise, how it has been used is also been linked with this, and this is what called as pharmacopoeia. Now you can see the for we have not done for all. We have done only for the primary healthcare conditions, the 30 conditions. We have done that. And what is the pharmacology of the classical text that is an Ayurveda? We referenced it with the help of the plants, whatever is there, as I was mentioning, and put that into a portal, and the formulations have been made. This I'm just showing it is very complicated, just to show that it's not easy, as I say. Searching a reference and attaching a reference to the ethnobotanical data is something which is very difficult. So we need to do a survey. We have to have health practices. We have to see the database, refer, and then come out with this, and then give a general awareness. From this only we take and give a general awareness. You can see that all 630 species, how many are there in different classical system of medicine, how many plants are mentioned, and hence these are some of the data that shows that how many plants are already there in the text of Ayurveda, and how we can promote this safely, because that's the safety part which the classical text gives us. So now this to show exactly how these plants are tagging with different system of medicine, how it has been used in different system of medicine. These are all detailed research we tried to do in this area. And we gave a proper correlation of the local names in each area, and we have developed a big database out of this. You can see the database in the web. We have proper classifications, text referenced to say that this plant is safe and you can start using this on a larger scale. These are some of the health surveys which gives the conditions and how many formulations we have done. You can see a total of 4,007 formulations have come on it. So that's so many formulations are available in that area. where people may know only 20, 30, but we can have more than 4,000 formulations which can come in single formulations, single plant type. Correct. With is already there, and where we can add on new things also in that area. So glossaries were developed, a lot of datas were developed, databases were developed, and you can see here exactly update mode. This to show that how starting from medicinal plant to classical text to outreach, how we have done. Now we'll see that it is involved in government programs. One can take into an app. Many students, whoever the different user groups can use. You can see the teachers can use this, students, village level governing bodies can use this, local communities can use, the government departments like Ayush, which is called as a government officially traditional medicine department, can use, agriculture department for cultivation of these plants, revenue, education, irrigation departments, researchers, environment scientists, the remote sensing scientists, all these people can use this data in turn for a good purpose, the ethnobotanical data. And this is a map just to show one model map, how the taluka or the villages, list of villages, and each, if you click, it will say exactly where the plants are available and what are the formulations that can be decided. And this is a 5 kilometer for a district, a grid map. So we have put this in a grid map, and it will be easy for them. This just to show how detailed the referencing we have done. Each shows one classical reference, one point, how it is linked for each plant. One plant, the references that we have seen to say that there's a strong formulation, you can go ahead with it. Just to show that the complication, it's not so easy. We have tried out with the different, all references have been mentioned in this part. And this is a database, you can see the plant wise, all data in the form of a database are there. And this is something with the computer people may understand is the architecture of how we make this entire portal, how linkage has been given from the data's metadata to minute data to server to client. These are the structure that just to show you exactly what we have. And is open source data we have used, and anyone can use because the public money we have, the government can use this for any people, and we have hosted that in a proper website, and people can start using it. And this is the structure of the entire pharmacopoeia, how it looks like, the website. And a summary of the entire thing is that it has the total 1,203 botanical names that are in that ethnobotanical knowledge. We have vernacular name of 28,246 vernacular names, which is of the area of 650 households we have surveyed. And then you can see a single plant drug remedy itself, 187 single plant drug remedies we have, ethnobotanical data we have, and 1,125 compound formulations, which Ayurveda is also added towards it. And now to use this, we also made sustainable collection practices, harvesting practices guidelines, how a tree fruit can be used, how a bark can be used, how a root can be used. So this has been also developed because education is very important. So we have involved in the case of environmental education, etc. And this is something which is summary of the entire thing. And these are the maps for which we can add on the rainfall pattern, soil pattern to the same area. Anything can be superimposed to see exactly how is the health of the village is. So these are some of the maps that can be integrated for land use patterns, roads, their field area, forest area. So we can add on that part as concerned. And this was well taken in the COP, and people really appreciate and said that in a small set of village of the entire country, it has such a big knowledge of ethnobotanical knowledge. Then for the entire country of India, how much it will have. That was well appreciated in the thing. And this is something with the case of not only using of a documentation, we tried to work with the schools, doctors, the local physicians, the healers, the tribal people. All we decided and said that, look, this is your knowledge, and let's now we give back to you, and let's see that this is what the model which we have developed. So these are trainings that we had. You can see with the help of schools, with the help of community, with the help of people. We have trained, given back their own knowledge to them in such a way that they can use their own ethnobotanical knowledge. You can see here again my colleagues just explaining about what are the health conditions, how will they prepare, what are the free listing of health conditions, and what knowledge they have and what they should give it. You can see how clearly they are explaining, discussion happening, a lot of knowledge, field visits to show them. So these are the certain things which was there as a part of the environment education program on giving back the ethnobotanical data to back to them. And these are some of the photographs to show exactly how many were schools were involved, and good number of schools were involved. And this has been well appreciated. See the number of children who are sitting here who would like to learn about this more. And there's also some of the photographs to show that outdoor activities were happening on that forest. They were taken to the forest. They were explaining about the plants. They're explaining about the community, what they're using and what is their knowledge on that. And we have made videos of YouTube videos in such a way that every household can have this. Anyone who's having an Android can have. If not, it was given for the community radio, and the community radio is something which they can hear, and they can preparations have been taught by to them, saying that what they should use, with when they should use, how to identify. These are some things which was community radios where people don't have Android in the village level. So these are some school programs which are there. So I stop with this, and if any question I can take. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kareem. I think this project actually, I feel like it's quite a model project where indigenous communities, researchers, and the government they act in synchrony, and they are all working together for holistic healthcare. So I'm pretty sure that all of the audiences that joined today had a glimpse of how that works. And now, as mentioned earlier, the participants are welcome to ask questions to Dr. Kareem. Since we have some time, you can either unmute and ask, or you can put your question in the chat box.
Good evening, everyone here.
Good
Yes.
evening.
Yeah, actually, sir, it was a very nice experience being a part of this webinar today. I'm a student, a master student doing my MSc Botany presently. I'm doing second year now. So, sir, now we are planning to do thesis work like dissertation and all. So, can you please suggest ethnobotanical surveys as it is completely new for us to do thesis or dissertation? So, any guidelines you would like to give? And I'll be very grateful to have that.
Yeah, there are very good I mean process of methodology, how to do, what to do, which area to take it. So yes, we can discuss this, and then we can guide you on that aspect. Sure, we can do that, because formats are there, what you have to document, how will you select the area, what that needs to be going in, all that are very clearly. We have our experience, we can share that, and we can share you the process very clear. No problem at all. You can get in touch with us. Yeah, can do.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, as it is very new for us and it is a wholehearted work from the student itself. So
Yeah,
we
fine.
are very much, like not very much, like as it is new, we are thinking about the topic, whether it will be a success or not. As in, if we think about a tissue culture, something like growing in vitro cultivation, it should give that result also. And it carries marks. So we are very much stressed about it, whether what to choose, how it should be practical based, theory based, like actual what it should be.
Yeah, that's what you could see now. I gave a good case study. So now you can
Yes,
see
sir,
the
it was very good.
usefulness of, yeah. It's very clear that how it is used for the public, general public, and community. So that level you have to go in. Then only it is useful. Then your thesis can come out very well, and that we can guide you, because already we have good experience. We can help you out. No issues at all.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you for your question, Ruma. I have put out the email address of Dr. Karim on the chat box. So if you want to get in touch with him, you can email him. And the next question is by E.B. Perez Belen. And she says, "Good evening from the Philippines." And she says that I request the other participants to be on mute. Logeshwaran ji. Yeah, thank you. So she says that we do believe in the power of medicinal plants, but she has a separate problem in a country where predatory herbal corporations are taking advantage of poor communities who cannot afford medicine. So how do we as academics talk about the usefulness of ethnobotany without over-grandizing and helping these companies in their practices? I think basically it's quite an important question because a lot of companies are now targeting this knowledge as a profit model, whereas before it was more of a democratized version where local people knew about it. So the question from her is, how do you respond to that? How do
Yeah,
you
yeah, I'll
talk
help.
about it?
This, see,
Yeah.
this case study which we have done is exactly for that. So we have, if you see that we have enabled, first we have documented it, then we have involved all people in the community level and said that, look, this is your knowledge and you have to take care of your health part. Then we went to the government and say that, look, in your area, your people are suffering from this 30, 40 ailments which is there. And now do you want to revitalize this tradition and see that people are start using this? If yes, then start doing a campaign on training, developing formulations, trying to make videos, try to have a lot of hands-on training programs in the villages, in such, and adding, backing up with the proper Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, the classical text by government which has been recognized, and all this that needs to be done. Only then our own knowledge can come into part. Otherwise industries will take over, but industries cannot take all the formulations. See, in our country as concerned, I said the number of formulations, even one or two the industries take, let them do and do their business, because that is also required. But the amount of knowledge that people have, ethnobotanical knowledge, to be made into a proper form on after assessing it, is something the village level can take over and do it.
Okay. I hope that answers your questions, Perez. Does anyone have any other? Yeah, I think you answered a question. So does anyone else have any other questions? I think, yeah, it's quite a important thing that was discussed, because there is a lot of proof these days where there are these big companies and they kind of sell their medicines back to the local communities from where the medicine came. So, but I think, like you mentioned, that in some cases where, like this project, it was quite a holistic way of involving the local communities from the beginning. And nowadays, like there's a lot of action taken against companies which do not give benefits to the local communities because of the Nagoya Protocol. I think the Nagoya Protocol is doing a good job in ensuring that local communities are not exploited. Does anyone have any other question? I think there is also a website for this project, if
Yeah,
I'm for this. So actually, if any of you are interested, you can go to the website of this project and check for yourself and see for yourself how you can explore the different uh, knowledge of the local communities based on the healthcare systems. There are also animation videos made for local communities, um, which is easier in the local language, of course. And I think there is also a software in which you just put the problem and it will give you all the solutions based on the local plants. Yes. Do you have a
Hello.
question? Yeah, Georgia, go ahead.
Oh, there we go. Hi,
Yeah.
good morning. My name is Georgia Hartfredalusis. I am a professor in anthropology in Idaho State University in Idaho in the US. I'm teaching an undergrad graduate course coming up with a focus on medicinal ethnobotany. And I just wondered what your thoughts were about what you think students maybe in a very different part of the world who are taking a class, what they might be able to learn from, or how you might suggest maybe integrating some of your work on this project into a class like that here.
Yeah, we can see, we can give a perspective of Asian perspective completely, the Indian perspective and the Asian perspective, which we see how the culture, the real health issues and problems are really being taken care. This is something which we can integrate in the form of a course, and we can work together. Yes, that possibility is there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Georgia, for your question. There's another question that there is again by Perez, that there is a slight problem where medical academy is apprehensive of ethnobotany. I think she's talking about the scientific validity of ethnobotany, and they cannot proceed with community work and education without intervention and demanding for co-validation with clinical trials. And do you also encounter this problem in your country? What can be done is the question.
Yeah. See, now clinical trial is required for if there is no reference in the classical text of our country's pharmacopoeia. That's what I mentioned. In India, we have the oral tradition, which is non-documented, and we have a documented tradition, which is well documented and accepted by the government. So this, we take the formulation of these oral traditions and see that how do we link with the classical tradition, see the references. That's what I said, the pharmacopoeia. And if there is a references in the classical text, we are allowed officially by the government to promote this. If there is no references in the classical text of our own plant-based medicine, then we are not allowed to promote this in a larger scale. An individual can promote to them, to any other people, but not in the form of advertising it, saying that he or she is the healer who can come, anyone can come and take disease. At the community level, yes, they can do individually as their own, and government will not recognize them as a practitioners. Government will recognize practitioners only with the help of the classical text people. Because we have that, we are able to promote this in the country as such. If we don't, we have to go through clinical trial, and same rule follows here also. Same WHO guidelines forms here. We have our country's guideline, ICMR guidelines. They also say that we have to go through a clinical trial process. And if we have a references here, then we don't need to go for a clinical trial. We can use this as a references and start promoting our ethnobotanical.
Okay. Thank you again for your question. So we have 5 minutes left. Does anyone have any other questions? Also, I think there was a hospital in this area, right? So if I'm not
Yeah,
wrong,
correct. Yeah, we have a
it was,
traditional ethnobotanical, I can't say ethnobotanical hospital, the classical hospital. That Ayurveda
yes.
hospital is already there in that area. But we are doing the same thing as what you have asked. We have our own method of doing a clinical trial. So we are trying to give this Ayurvedic medicine and see that really is there a cure for the so-called allopathic standards which they have, and then find out how much is the cure for this, for diabetes, for Parkinson diseases, for many other skin diseases. So a lot of other diseases we are trying to find out exactly. Alzheimer's disease. Our ethnobotanical knowledge or the traditional Ayurvedic knowledge, we are giving it to the patients and seeing that how the cure has been done. It's a 100-bed hospital that we have.
The participants, as you know that this webinar is being recorded, I will, you can also, Dr. Kareem, is it possible for me to share your email address to them over email
Yeah.
if they
Sure,
would
sure,
like
sure.
to contact you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because as I understand that there's a lot of information shared. If people want to reach out to you after the webinar, they can send you an email.
Yeah.
So I
And
have
even
put your
course
email.
also. Even if the course we can jointly want to do some courses, we can do that. Yes, of course. Like how Georgia.
Yes. Yeah, I understand that TDU Bangalore where Dr. Kareem works, they have a lot of courses which revolve around this aspect of ethnobotany and indigenous knowledge and biodiversity conservation also. So, since it's a university, if there are any students, especially in India, who would like to get hands-on experience of working in the field, I think this would also be a great opportunity. And I would recommend all of you to get in touch with TDO and Dr. Kareem, and I'm sure that it will open your eyes of towards the beauty of plant knowledge that indigenous communities have in the country, especially like India, which is so diverse, which is so diverse. So, since there's no more questions, I have just one last question for you, Dr. Kareem, that a lot of people now, we saw some youngsters, they want to do ethnobotany, and me myself, I'm studying ethnobotany. We have seen this field change, evolve for the past 25 years. What would be that one direction you would like to give what the subject needs? Because you have seen research from across the world, you have seen what is lacking and what are the new research ideas that will take ethnobotany forward for the benefit of the indigenous community and for science and research.
Yeah. Two things. One is that a proper documentation is not happening. Whatever the documentation which is happening is only on plant uses. Which this leads to only, and as one of the participants said, that for commercial companies to take care as a lead. And they have to spend a lot of money, as she rightly mentioned. A lot of money needs to be spent to see. At the end, it may not even get a cure. So the documentation format should be in depth that what we are using it, starting from the dosage to the minute preparation to the pros and cons, qualities, such depth information that needs to be documented. Second, we need to see that we have to give back to the community for the knowledge as concerned. And if that has been inbuilt in all our ethnobotanical thing, then there'll be appreciation of the student itself who is doing the work. Otherwise, what at the end of the student will be not innovative, as one of the other colleagues have mentioned. First, who have mentioned that we are doing some PhD, sir, but we are aware if tissue culture we can see something, but here we cannot see. We are scared of seeing that whether it will be useful or not. How important this will be. She mentioned very clearly on that. So that will be the case if, in case, if this has been just a documenting of one line usage, which will not be of any use. Has anthropological part has been involved in this, and we have ethnopharmacology part involving in this, a detailed documentation of giving back to the community and the community getting appreciated on that part. I think the entire ethnobotanical part should be looked on that angle and not on the angle of a small angle of just documenting plant and uses. This is the future direction one should look on. And adding culture to it, as you know that the plant ethnobotany is not only use and plant, there are a lot of culture behind every dosage and usage that we need to do. So as anthropology will play an important role in this entire aspect of this part, and that's very important.
Okay. All right. If thank you so much, sir, for that answer. I think that does help us to understand which way to go. And if nobody else has any other questions, I think we can end this webinar. All right. So I thank you. First of all, I thank Dr. Kareem for accepting this invite and giving us this really interesting work from southern part of India, which talks about how to work with indigenous communities, government, researchers, how to bring all of them together to for holistic healthcare. So thank you everyone for joining. And since this webinar is hosted by Society for Ethnobotany, I encourage you to check the website of Society for Ethnobotany and also to subscribe to the Journal of Economic Botany and become a member. When you become a member of Society for Ethnobotany, you have access to its journal and also webinars like this, and also a lot of events that happen in the field of ethnobotany across the world. So I suggest you to become a member. It's very cheap, especially for students. I'm going to be putting the link of the society in the chat box. So any of you, if you're interested, you can check the website. Or you can just type Society for Ethnobotany and you will also get the same. So thank you so much, Dr. Kareem, again, and
Thank you,
thanks to all
Nishanth.
the
Yeah.
participants for joining. And I wish you all a wonderful day ahead. And please take care of yourself and be in touch for the next student cafe, which will be held soon.
Okay. Thank you.